Hi everybody, welcome to my new video. It's a beautiful sunny day out there, but it's blustery and windy, so I'm hiding in the polytunnel, and I have a very fun one for you today. I focus on the feature wall inside my tiny house, but we also go down to Sinead's barn to scavenge for some interesting materials. I do some carpentry work, and at the end of the video we go to a mushroom festival. So I think it's a really fun one. I've mostly decided what I want to do for one side of the feature wall, but I'm still working on my ideas for the other side. So stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show you my rough plans, and for anyone out there that has opinions on such things, I would love to hear your feedback, your suggestions, and your ideas as well. So let's just get into the video and I'll see you again at the end. Welcome back. The wall project is in full swing. I've made a massive mess, but I have way more mess still to make. I've got a lot of lime to still pack into the wall. I still have to chip a whole bunch of dirt from up above at the top, and I'm just gonna leave the mess there for now until I finish off those parts. I'm going to switch focus today to some carpentry stuff. I'd love to make a shelf to go above the bottles on the wall behind me there, the one that extends into the shower. I'd also like to take a trip down to Sinead's barn where she has some old olive cuttings, stuff that was chopped up for firewood, but it's big pieces, and I'm thinking I can cut some of those pieces smaller and possibly use them for the bottoms of little shelves. I have an idea in my head. Whether it's going to work or not is anybody's guess, but I thought we'd start the day by taking a walk down to Sinead's place and scoping out what she has in there. So let's go. I think what I need is somewhere over here, but first, light. Ooh, this is what I need, I think. So my idea would be to get big pieces like this, and I don't know, I guess chainsaw circles, and make cool shelves out of olive wood. There's also this piece over here that I've had my eye on for a while. I think that's cork, actually. Maybe it's all cork. I don't really know. This one already has this sort of flat surface. Yeah, this one's definitely cork. This one definitely is olive. Definitely, maybe. So I'm going to take these big pieces back with me. Ooh. There's another one over here with a flat side. Not so much, not as thick, but maybe that'll be useful as well. So I'm going to take these pieces back with me and see what I can do with them. And what are you? This is a pretty gnarly looking piece. I don't know if I can use this for shelves, but it's just an interesting, nice piece of wood. And all of this is grape trimmings from the previous owner from a couple of years ago. So I could be, in theory, using that for kindling, and this is fig branches that I use as kindling now. And I only pruned the figs at the beginning of the year, so hopefully it's seasoned and not gumming up my wood stove, but it seems to be burning really, really nicely. And then out here we've got some trimmings from Sancha's olive trees. We did a pretty decent prune on one of them, and the intention is to use these as firewood, but some of the pieces are just nice and big, and I feel like you take the bark off, they can look really, really nice and possibly be used as shelf supports, or I don't know, something to hold lights. Like, there's just some really cool pieces. So the smaller stuff definitely for firewood, and the bigger stuff, before I chop it up into pieces to throw on the fire, I'll definitely have a think about some more creative uses for it. But for now, let's load this bad boy up with some interesting looking logs. That last hill is a doozy. So I really don't have any idea what I want to do with these logs. So I'm going to bust out the workbench and I'm going to get started on the shelf beside the shower, because I do know more or less what I want to do with that. So my idea for putting this in place isn't to fasten it in permanently right now. It's just so I can see what it looks like from the other side. So I'm very curious to check it out. Okay, I'm happy with this. It looks pretty cool. I obviously need to cut it off to length. I'm likely going to put another shelf down here on this level going across as well. I have another piece of wood like this. I have to chop this piece of wood off to be the right thickness, but first I have to lime the other side on the shower side. But this gives me an idea of how it's sort of going to look. I'm imagining I put some plants up there and it'll look really cool. So I need to have some shelving in this area, mainly so Larry the cat can hop up here and get out the window. So I'll need to try to figure out how that's going to look. I also want to try to incorporate those olive pieces somehow, and I still need to figure out the line for how the clay wall is going to run along the rocks. Over here though, I've had a little bit more success trying to determine the path of the future clay wall, and I've gotten up to here, but let me show you what I have to help me make my final decision. So I'm not exactly sure if I should be proud of this or a little ashamed of how obsessive it is, but here you have every rock individually drawn so I can try to make a better decision on the path. So I haven't done too much work yet on drawing the different paths, but I have done a couple, especially on the left-hand side, and I'm trying to determine a few things. Do I want that rock to be covered in clay? Do I want it exposed? Do I want these exposed? But I can't really continue on above the stove area until I actually chip out the mud up there and see what's going on. So my next step, I believe, will be to hack at the mud up there with a hammer and chisel and expose the rocks and see what I'm dealing with. Drawing each individual rock on my wall into Adobe Illustrator might seem insane, but I'm only going to do this one time, and I really want to make sure I get it right, or as right as possible. And I was having a really hard time visualizing the best path, and I feel like doing it on the computer first is really going to help me figure out the best way to do this, because once it's done, it's done. It's there forever, and this is the type of wall that I'll spend a lot of time looking at. So I really want to nail it. I want to get it right. And so taking the time to do this slightly insane thing that's okay with me. But as I mentioned, I can't really determine what I'm going to do next until I clear out some of the mud up there. So it's time to get up the ladder with a hammer and chisel and continue on with some chipping. So I have a few hours of chipping in my future, which I will enjoy immensely. But before I get started on that, I wanted to introduce you once again to my avocado and macadamia nut trees. I didn't really know where to put them, so I've decided to put them in buckets in front of the house. They're sheltered from the wind. They're gonna capture the heat from the stone over the winter, and I'm gonna plant them in the spring once they have a little chance to get a bit bigger and stronger. This is Max the macadamia, and this is Alvin the avocado. Thank you, Sancha, for the names. Very good tree namer. It's good to have a friend who's a good namer of trees. So I'm gonna keep these guys close, keep them happy, keep them well watered, and hopefully they get bigger and stronger over winter, and I will hopefully also find a spot for them on my land because things are pretty tight. All right, let's chip. So I've got a bunch of chipping to do, and then I'm gonna spend some time at my computer drawing lines in Adobe Illustrator to try to determine the paths I want to take on both sides. And once I do that, I can push on with the project a little bit more. Yeah, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully by then I'll have a plan. Good morning, it's a brand new day, and it's actually 2 days since you last saw me standing on the wood stove, clawing away at the wall up there. I spent all day yesterday clawing more dirt out and packing the wall with lime. It's very slow going, and it's pretty time consuming, but I do still enjoy it. The thing that takes the longest is trying to make sure I get the stones nicely spaced. So taking extra time now is going to save me loads of time later on when I get to that final pointing stage. But for now, I've just mixed up a batch of cob in the wheelbarrow. I probably only have this one and one more left. I don't have a lot of clay left, so I'll need to find a new source for clay, restock on that, and that could delay this project, but I'm hoping my friend will come through with another resupply, but we'll see. I'm really excited with how this wall project is going. Last night I put the wood stove on, and I just couldn't help sitting there and staring at the wall beyond the wood stove with the fire roaring. I was imagining what it's going to look like when it's all finished, and I think it's going to be a really cool feature of this little tiny house of mine. For now, I've got a wheelbarrow of clay ready, and I'm going to stick it on the wall, but let me walk you through what my plan is. It's going to be a bit of a short work day today because I'm meeting some friends for coffee later, and then tonight I'm going to a festa called Mishkarosh. It's in a village not very far away, and it's in celebration of a local mushroom, and it's really, really fun. I've been twice so far, 2 years in a row, and I'm looking forward to this third year. So I'm gonna take you to the festa later on tonight, but for now, let's get into the work. So I've used my crazy computer file to finally decide on a path up the wall on the left-hand side. I have a plan the whole way up. I still have a few rocks to put in way up there, but for the most part, this side is ready. I'm gonna put some sort of small little shelves or little alcoves in this section. So I still need to give that part some thought, and I'm not going to rush the shelving because I think it could be something that's really cool. So I'll come back to that later on. But with the little bit of clay I have, I'm going to start down here where I'm definitely not putting a shelf. Try to get it as far back behind the wood stove as I can. Obviously I'll have to move the stove to finish the wall, which I'll do in the spring. And yeah, basically just start putting the clay on from the bottom. And what that's going to allow me to do is just see how, I don't know, see how it kind of connects and what it looks like. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to leave the pointed space and then start the clay at the stone, or to bring the clay all the way over the pointed space. I still don't 100% know, but I'm going to start with the clay just on the stone and see how it looks. I haven't really made decisions on this side. I've got a lot of thinking to do, and I've come up with some ideas which I'll share at the end of the video, but still haven't confirmed anything. But what I do know is that I've got a wheelbarrow full of clay ready, and I'm ready to stick it on the wall. Okay, job done for now. I'm really happy with that. I'm kind of bummed them all out of clay because this is one of my favorite jobs to do, and I would really love to just continue all the way up to the top and get this side of the wall mostly finished. This is still going to have a finished plaster on top of this layer, so I'm going to score it so it has something to stick to easily. But for the most part, I'm really happy with how things are going. I still have to think about little shelves that are going to go here, so I'm not pushing on too far this way, but this side over here isn't going to have any shelving, and so I'm happy that that's been filled in. I'm happy to have sculpted around the flue. I think that looks pretty cool. And in general, I'm very happy. It's been a super chilled out day. I went to see some friends and had some coffee. I had a nap for the first time in ages, and I put 2 wheelbarrows of cob onto the wall. So it's been a great day. But now it looks like an absolutely stunning evening out here. Perfect night for a festival. So I'm gonna have a shower, call it quits on work for the day, and I'll see you for Mishkarush. Okay, let's wrap the video up there with a bit of drumming action. I love that festival. It's called Mishkarosh. It's in a village nearby called Al-Qaid, and it's very similar to another one near me in Alpedrinia called Shakalyosh. They're both 3-day festivals. They're both very music heavy with lots of street bands, lots of food, and they're really, really wonderful. They're worth traveling to Portugal to attend, I think, and I'm really lucky to live close to both of those festivals. But I'm here to talk to you about walls, not festivals. So let's see if I can try to explain what I have in mind. You can see over here that I'm following the edge of the rock up. They'll be pointing in between all these rocks, final pointing. It'll be a nice light creamy color, and that pointing will go into here as well, and I think that's going to look nice. If it doesn't look nice, I'll end up taking the clay over top of the pointing so that the pointing kind of ends at the clay. I haven't really decided which one I'd prefer, so I'll try the first way, and then hopefully it looks good. Over here is where I have the most confusion. I want to have some kind of a shelf somewhere around here, mainly so the cat can jump up to there and get out the shower/cat door window. That's Larry's route of choice. And I'm wondering now if it might make sense to do sort of a, I don't know, like a little shelf, but with a little storage area under there, and then I can have a couch just sort of butt up against that. It doesn't have to stick out too much, but it could be a good place to have like a place to charge things, a place to put drinks, and building it into the wall might not make sense. I don't know. It might make sense. I haven't really thought it through too much. I guess if I made a little standalone unit, I could move it out, and it would give me more versatility with the space. But if I did something built into the wall, it might, I don't know, look cool. It might be a better use of the space because I can squash it in a little more closely to the wall. What else? So I'd also like to have some kind of a shelf that's kind of an alcove-y type thing, maybe rounded, maybe with 3 layers, possibly using the olive wood with an arch at the top. This clay wall isn't going to be super deep, so I don't have a lot of wiggle room with the depth of the shelf going into the clay wall, but I could stick out some little shelves using olive wood or using the Douglas fir similar to that. And then basically I'll just follow some chosen path that I haven't decided on yet up to the top. I also was thinking perhaps of putting some sort of shelf like that, I don't know, in here somewhere, just across the middle part, possibly as a place to put some photographs or artwork or something like that. I was also considering putting a shelf similar to this one across here, maybe for books or something like that. I don't think it would get in the way for people standing up from the couch, but I'm not sure what it would look like. So something to consider. Something else I need to do is run conduit through the clay wall before I actually lay the clay. So I have the conduit already, and that just means that I can then have a place for the wires to go before I actually have to wire anything up. So the conduit will come down here. I'll probably have a plug somewhere in this corner, and then I'll likely run another conduit down the bottom. And behind this curtain will be another panel like this, and I'd like to have a plug somewhere down there as well. So doing that now will save me hassles in the future. And then over on this side, I mostly decided with how I want things. I've chosen my path up the wall for the clay to go on the stones, but here I'd like to have possibly 2 or 3 little shelves, maybe that I can put candles in or something like that. It could look pretty cool just to break up the clay on this side a little bit. I'm not going to have any fancy things happening up there, and I'm probably not going to do anything fancy up here. I really don't want to make work for myself, so I don't want to have places up high that are going to gather dust, so I'll probably just keep that all nice and smooth, nice just straight clay. I don't know how well I explained all of that, but I've got a bunch of decisions still to make on this side, and I would love mainly some feedback on my idea for the bottom of this side of the wall, building in a little tiny storage unit with a shelf on top, or having a freestanding shelf type thing that I can move around. I'd also love ideas for any types of shelves to put above that on the wall behind me. I just want to break up the kind of monotony of a big clay wall, and I think shelves in clay walls can look really, really cool. I've been spending loads of time on Pinterest and been daydreaming and coming up with ideas, but I'm always open to feedback. So if anyone out there has any ideas, can point me in any directions, please do let me know in the comments. And I'm really excited to start on this side because I think it's going to be some fun sculptural challenges, and I can be really, really creative with that as well. But I need to get a hold of more clay first, so I think things are going to switch focus once again back into the shower for my next video, hopefully, and I'll work on trying to source some more clay so I can push on with this wall. But I'm really, really excited with how it's gone, and I'm looking forward to working on it more in the future. So I'm going to send you off from the video with a beautiful sight of my wood fire burning brightly with the wall behind it, and I'll say goodbye from this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.